Instagram page. But I just first want to thank you all for joining and welcome you to tonight's discussion on behalf of the president of the Prayer War Room International, Pastor Ernest Bryant, who could not be with us tonight. I want to welcome you all to the latest installment of the To Be in Health Wellness series. I'm your host, Gayla Lawrence, author of Love Amplified, How Caregiving Reveals the Heart's True Capacity. My book is available on Amazon, and I'll post the link in the chat here on Facebook and on Clubhouse. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, I'm glad to see you all today. Thank you for joining. And you're going to see throughout the discussion, I'm going to be looking to my left and to my right. I have a few monitors here, and I just want to track the different conversations that are happening on the different streams because I'm working alone today. So I have no one to help moderate for me. So please don't mind me if you see me looking away from our guest tonight. Alrighty. Okay. So I just want to make sure we're all hearing me clear on Clubhouse. Thank you for the thumbs up. Clubhouse is hearing me well. Facebook is out there. Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the share. Please share and like. Please share and like. And I'm going to actually do the same while our guest is also going to be sharing from backstage. She can hear me and you can't see her yet. She's backstage. So I'm going to go ahead and share this to our Clubhouse Instagram page. So let's make that happen. Let's all share together, shall we? Okay, we're going to share. Okay, awesome. Okay, all right. Let's hope technology is in our favor tonight. If you don't see it on the Instagram, you'll see it right here on Facebook, and then we can post it to the Instagram page later. But you are looking at us now on Facebook. So glad you're here to join us tonight. I am ready to start. I hope you're ready to learn. I have an awesome guest tonight. We have the privilege of speaking with an integrative nutritionist and my friend, Miss Jenon Wong of Land of the Well. Now, before I welcome her to the stage, I want to read her bio to you. Jenon Wong, she is a certified integrative nutritional health coach. After 20 plus years in television advertising, this working wife and mother of three learned firsthand how to manage a hectic work schedule with a healthy family life. While battling migraines and countless doctor visits, Jenon discovered through food journaling, years of studying, and research the impact stress and diet had on her health. Land of the Well was created to educate busy women and professionals on how to live healthy and happy lives through simple lifestyle changes. Certified by the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, Jenon offers corporate wellness training, one-on-one health consultations, and her signature Wellness Jumpstart program, which I've had the pleasure of starting myself. Simply put, she is a healthy stuff educator and obsessed with helping busy people just like myself and herself rock their wellness goals while enjoying every morsel of life. Please welcome to the stage, Mrs. Jenon Wong. Welcome to the stage, Jenon. It's good to have you.
Okay, like wow. I mean, this is like you are really official. Not only is my friend an author, but I'm like,
oh,
Oprah, who? Can we get a Gayla Lawrence show? I mean, wow. You feel really
thank you.
wonderful, my friend.
Thank you. So everyone, please welcome my dear friend, Jenon Wong. Take a time to share it. If you have questions as we go on in this discussion, you can post them in the chat, and I'll be sure to ask her those questions. If we don't get to your questions, you can still post them, and we'll come back and answer those questions. Jenon is here for the first time, but not the last time. So please feel free to leave your questions. If you're looking at the replay, you can leave questions as well. All righty. Well, first, how are you doing today?
I am living exactly what you said in my bio. Just busy day, just juggling a lot, but really taking this time to kind of dig into my passion, and so excited to be here with all of you today just to share some tips to get us on the right track to healthy lives.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, everyone in the audience, if you're not familiar with the Prayer War Room International on Clubhouse, it is Pastor Ernest Bryant's uh, ministry, his Clubhouse room. And his passion is for the body of Christ, all people, to be able to live well, to live better. And it is our responsibility for those of us who are Christians to be good stewards over our health. And I have a caregiving community that's also watching. Caregivers, we know how important nutrition is to those we're caring for, but it's also important for us so that we can be our best selves, live as best as we can, so we can care for others. All right, so this is a much needed conversation. And so I hope you all are ready to learn. All right. Okay, so I have a number of questions for you,
Okay.
and we're going to get started. Okay, so my first question is for you to please tell us a bit of your background and what led you to become an integrative nutrition health coach, and explain what that even means.
So, as you shared in my bio, I battled migraines for many, many years. Got to the point where I had to take every scan, MRI, all the tests. And towards the end of the testing, I was handed 3 medications and an injection. I am not one for needles. So the first question was, well, what's wrong? The answer was, we don't really know, but this will help you manage the symptoms. But what are we treating? So that was the first question. Then, as I started to look through all the side effects, I said, by the time I finish all these medications, it's going to lead to other issues. And then we're going to have to treat those. So I was just sharing with my mom what had just transpired. And she says, why don't you just take track of what you're eating? Start a food journal. And it was shortly after that that I realized that one of my favorite food groups, aged cheese, I put cheese on everything back then, was triggering the migraines. The minute that I cut that out, I no longer dealt with the migraines. Never had to take the medication. And it really kind of led me to start looking at, what do I need to do? What control do I have over how I feel? And I grew up with family from the South, so we always had a huge garden. My grandfather was an avid fisherman. My grandmother was the best home cook ever. Fresh food was always prepared. And I knew that that had to tie into how I was feeling and what I needed to do. So you asked about what's the difference between integrative nutrition and just regular everyday wellness. Integrative nutrition really looks at the whole person. So it's not just about, being the perfect size and, fitting in a size, whatever, size 6, 8. I don't even know what the trendy size is these days, but how do you feel? So it takes an approach of not just what you're eating, but, do you have a spiritual practice? Are you moving naturally? Are you going after things that you're passionate about? Are you really operating in the gifts that God has given you? Because that takes a toll on your overall health and wellness as well. Your sleep and so many things. So it takes a whole look at the whole person rather than what do you eat.
That's good. That's good. And I like that you talked about how that ties into just your overall wellness mentally too and emotionally. All of that works together. All of that works together. Um, okay, so moving on to nutrition and diet. And those of you who are on Clubhouse, please let me know how the sound is again. I tried to make some adjustments. Please let me know. You can give me a thumbs up, or you can just go ahead and join us on Facebook Live and let me know if you're having Your mic is perfect. The other lady you can't hear. Okay. Alrighty. So it might be easier if you come over to Facebook. Thank you so much, Queen Malika. It's good to see you, sis. I hope you are well in Jesus' name. And let me know if you're able to come over to Facebook and that link is working for you. Okay. Thank you. Greetings, Cherise. Good to see you. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to nutrition and diet. And again, let me just check everybody here on Facebook. Again, I apologize for looking away from our wonderful host. I just want to make sure everyone is being tended to and all of the streams that I'm attempting are working. Because what I thought was going to work didn't work. And those of you have to know what it's like as being a caregiver, as being someone who just a mother is a caregiver, right? So what you plan for sometimes just ain't working. So you just gotta make it work. You just gotta make it work. So okay, it looks like I'm streaming. It looks like I'm streaming. Okay. All right. Okay. I see here. Let me share again. I see you folks. I see you folks. I see you folks. No worries. Let me share to make sure you guys are not overlooked. Okay. All right. Okay. So moving on to nutrition and diet. What are some simple dietary changes people can make to improve their overall health?
I think and especially with social media and the internet, I think we kind of really overcomplicated things. Um, I like to say we really gone deep in the weeds with what healthy really looks like. And if we really strip it down to the basics, it's just simple changes. We drink $5 bottles of water, thinking that that's going to be the silver bullet to get everything in line. Just get yourself some good filtered water, trade that in. And I know, Gayla, this is a preaching to the choir because you've heard me yell about this for many, many years. But if we trade in those sugary beverages, I love to have a 30-day simple, just drink water for 30 days. Cut out all the teas and smoothies and oh, look at you showing off. And lemonade and 100% fruit juice and all those things and just drink water. You will be amazed at how much better you feel, how those sugar cravings start to kind of dial down a little bit. That's my first thing that I always tell people. What are you drinking? Drink more water. Let's start there. 30 days, just try it. Just drink water. You will be amazed by the impact that that'll have. The second thing I like to say is everybody is not, there's a lot of hype between all types of diets. There's, what is it, keto, vegan, uh, I mean,
Intermittent fasting.
intermittent. As noted, I came from a background of advertising and marketing. So I know that there's a lot of money and push behind a lot of these diets. But if we just, again, go back to basics, when I'm old enough to remember that years ago, when a plate was presented to you, there was a portion of meat, but it was not a tomahawk ribeye. Your meat did not stretch off of your plate. You had some type of grain, whether it was potatoes or rice. You had some beans. You had some type of vegetable or salad. Again, my grandparents were from the South, so we always had collards and kale and mustard greens and things like that. Just look at your plate. The portion of meat or protein, I should say animal protein, should be no bigger than 4 ounces, which is usually about the size of your palm. Everything else, make it as colorful as possible. Tons of vegetables, whole grains. Grains and carbs are not your enemy. Sweet potatoes, um, all kinds of things that actually add color. That's one thing that you can look at, because everybody's not going to just become a vegan overnight, but really just take a look at what you're eating. If you don't know how to cook, really just try to, I always suggest there are cooking shows, cookbooks. Just try to find maybe 5 recipes that you can really kind of lean on. Like tonight for us, it's not Tuesday, but we have tacos usually once a week. Tacos are a good way to get all kinds of vegetables in a shell that's fun for families. They're actually really good. And you can do anything from turkey to quinoa to fish to veggies. Just try to have fun with it and don't overcomplicate it. And we're still talking about food, right? You didn't ask about anything other than
No, we're still talking about food.
yeah. And I would say even those sugar cravings, this is my favorite time of year because I love nectarines and plums and peaches and cherries and all the summer stone fruits. So really kind of dig into eating some more berries and things like that. Things that I always like to say, fill your plate and look at your meals as things that you can say this actually grew or came from a plant in the ground rather than it was created in a plant and pushed out in a box, some type of packaging or something like that. So really just try to dig in and create a plate that is based on whole fruits, grains, and vegetables.
And you know, that's something that we all know that we should be doing, right? That's something we all know that we should be doing. What are some common misconceptions about healthy eating? I know some. So the assumptions, anyway.
You know,
And if you can lean closer to your mic, I'm sorry. I want to make sure everyone could hear you.
it goes back to I I think and there are some good things about social media, but I think there are a lot of experts on social media now, and many of us have gone down a rabbit hole and we are stuck in analysis paralysis to the point where we have so much information now that is supposed to be good for us that many of us just don't even know what to do anymore, right? So you hear all this talk about vegan and plant-based and vegan and some of the, keto. Well, where do you start? What do you do first? And I think some of the biggest misconceptions are that it's hard, or that it can't be done. I'm a mom of 3 little ones. I work, I have a business, I have a husband. I'm in school at any given time because I'm a lifelong learner. And I know that busy lives don't always make a lot of room for what we think is a healthy lifestyle. But if you really just can't, right, someone said, and I can't afford it. That's another thing. You know, and we said we were going to be transparent today, right?
Yes, yes.
But let me tell on myself. And Pastor Willis, he's going to get a chuckle out of this when we laugh, when he sees it. We spoke a couple of weeks ago about emotional eating. I had a very rough day at work, very rough day. So much so that I had to pull over in a parking lot and I turned around and there was a Chick-fil-A. I said, well, I know what'll make me feel better. That peach milkshake with some waffle fries. By the time I pulled out of there, it was $13.
Oh,
So the misconception is that healthy food is expensive, but so is junk food, especially now, right? So for $13, I can come home and I can get quite a few things, not a whole lot, and certainly not a carton of eggs, but you can find meals that are affordable, especially when you dial back on some of the meats and really just kind of get to the basics of healthy food. Um, don't have time to prepare healthy meals. If we don't invest the time to take care of ourselves, then we're going to have to invest the time in going to doctor's visits and all the other things. So I heard somebody say self-care is not selfish. Preparing meals and really just cutting out some time is absolutely imperative that we do that. And like I said, as a busy mom, I know time is, and let me say this too. Everything doesn't have to be Food Network ready. Every plate that you put out on the table doesn't have to be Instagram worthy. If you see my plate of tacos tonight, it looks like a trash can, but it's really good. Like I enjoy it, and it's not hard. We prepared the base of the tacos yesterday because we knew today between tutoring and basketball and everything else, we didn't have a lot of time. So that's also another thing, just finding a rhythm of, and I think, we'll talk about that later, but just really kind of, I don't know if I'm going around the mulberry tree here.
No,
What,
no, no.
what are some of the misconceptions that you've heard of?
The expense of it, which Lisa Troy in our audience had just said, the expense. And she also says here, you don't have time to prepare a healthy meal. Some other comments, don't know where or how to shop.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
And then her family doesn't like healthy food that she prepares. So that's what I love about you. And to our audience, like I said, I have been through Jenon's program, and I continue to actually apply it because what I love about it is all very approachable, and a lot of stuff I already knew to do. And I'm going to say this probably is applicable to a lot of our audience that education is not your problem, it's application. You know enough to do better, you just choose not to. And you choose not to be consistent, right? Because this is all an act of the will. You have to just decide that I want to be a better steward over my health. I want to be consistent in this. And so sometimes, we have these, we have these bursts of energy and we might really go for a while. And then we kind of have these lulls, and then you end up in this bad habit that you keep this bad habit. And then you kind of end up backwards. So what I love about Jenon is that she teaches you ways to cook that's actually very delicious. So whether it's an all vegan meal or, the plant-based, vegan, plant-based, or it has some meat in it, it's all very good. It's just nutritional. It's nutrition heavy, and it's or healthful. So like it's like every component of the meal is going to benefit you in some way.
Yeah.
And that's what your food should do.
And you should enjoy it. It should not be
enjoy it.
Nothing that you eat and spend your money on should taste like cardboard. Like that, there's no fun in that. Because you're gonna end up in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru.
Right.
It needs to taste good, not just, good for you. And I get it with children as well, because I have 3 separate eaters. I have one that will try and eat everything. I have another one that, he'll try it if he can. And I've actually taught my kids to cook because I'm not a short order cook. But, it is, he likes to find creative ways to make dishes that include some of the things that he typically doesn't like the way that I cook them. So that's a thing. But I just want to say also about the time. And this is for me first, because I understand, especially as caregivers, parents, working professionals, our days seem a whole lot shorter than 24 hours. And sometimes I really have to look at my day, and I just have to ask myself the hard questions. How much time, and this is a question that I often ask myself with my own study and prayer time. How much time are you spending on social media? How much time did you spend calling a friend, complaining? How much time did you spend on things that really didn't add any value to your life or health? If you can carve out 20 to 30 minutes out of that, you can make a delicious meal.
That's challenging. I'm just
I mean,
take a moment here to just engage our Clubhouse folks to motion them over. I'm sorry. I just want to help them out here. Don't want to leave anyone out. Okay, I'm glad you're enjoying this discussion. I provided you with my YouTube channel, if that will help you out, if the Facebook link isn't working for you. Okay, awesome. Okay, I'm going to circle back. All right. Let me just check if anyone else has any comments. Oh, Lisa Troy grows her own food in the garden. Very nice. And Jenon has a marvelous garden.
I love it. And gardening also counts for exercise. You know, getting out in the garden is not just, smelling the daisies. Work in the garden is exercise. So that it's twofold with having a garden. You get to control what type of food you're growing, keep pesticides away and all that other stuff, and you're getting the movement, the natural movement that comes with gardening.
That's great. Yeah, natural movement. So I've heard about that a lot because I do like to exercise, but sometimes you don't feel like going outside, right? They were like, oh, you got to go for a walk every day. You got to go run every day. And I'm like, sometimes I just don't feel like it. Right. But the natural movements and what you don't consider valuable, like I always feel like I got to be, really exerting myself for it to count. But it's just about mobility and, keeping your body moving, and you don't realize all that counts.
Absolutely. And I am not a fan of gyms. I think
right.
I do not like gyms. But if you ask me to, on Friday nights during the school year, we throw on a silly song and the kids and I will dance around for 10, 15 minutes, I am out of breath by the time we're done. That was natural movement. Going in the backyard, playing around with my son, helping him hit balls, that counts as natural movement. Just going for a walk after dinner, if it's a beautiful night, that counts as natural movement. Mopping your floor, cleaning windows, that counts as natural movement. There are people that live well over 95, deep into their hundreds. And I say deep because if you make it past 100, you're doing pretty good. And they're not people that go to the gym. I mean, they might cycle or swim, but they're doing gardening, their housework. They sit on the floor when they're reading a book because just the motion of sitting on the floor and getting up strengthens muscles in your legs. They're taking the steps. They're walking to the store rather than driving to the corner. Things like that really count and they matter.
That's good. I want to make sure I catch some comments in here. Lisa Troy, if you can respond back and let me know if you're hearing better. She's having some trouble hearing you, but we have a question. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it helps us if you move forward. But Malika has a question for you. What is your perspective on raw diets, plant-based, and getting away from meat?
I will tell you this. Everyone is different. I'll go step by step. Raw diet, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm always hesitant on anything that is trendy. I think there's a place for raw. I just don't know if it's sustainable. Most of the time, I'm sorry, my little one is up here being chased by her dad.
That's quite all right. That's part of your life.
So I forgot what the statistics are, but it's something very, very low, the percentage of people that actually stay on a raw diet after starting. And yeah, there are some people that have done it for years. But the reality, some people will do it for a good month or so, and then they just go binge because but there is a place for it. I just don't know how sustainable it is. But with that being said, I think including it into your daily meal plan counts just as if you do it for all of your meals. Plant-based diet, I think that is the way that we need to go, for so many reasons. The one be go ahead, I'm sorry.
No. So when you say plant-based, for our sake of our audience, how much was the portion of making a meal plant-based? What makes a meal plant-based? Is it all plants? But that would be vegan.
Right. So
So it's not the same.
right. So plant-based, vegan, pretty much the
Oh,
same in
oh,
context. Um, Anywhere from 100% plant-based is ideal. I am not a vegan. Um, Most of my meals are, well, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of my meals are not solely plant-based. But plant-based dominant meals are always a top priority for me. And here's why. Studies have shown that people that are on plant-based diets live longer, healthier lives with lower risk of our normal cancers, dementia, diabetes, and all heart disease. And there's even studies being released now that people that were put on plant-based diets after the initial diagnosis of dementia, after 5 years of solely plant-based diets, those findings have been reversed. So I'll say that, but there are plant-based people, vegan, no, I don't want to say vegans, people that eat plant-based heavy diets that will, at a celebration, at a wedding, have, lamb or some type of meat. It's just that every day, every meal isn't a bacon, egg, and cheese for breakfast, a cheeseburger for lunch, and a steak with all the things. And that's where the standard American diet has been very meat heavy. And I think we need to get away from that because essentially it's killing us.
wow.
Sorry, I don't want to sound depressing, but
No, no, that's important. That's important to know that. We can't delude ourselves.
right. And I'll say this too, and you've heard me say this as well. You can't be a French fry vegan either. I have friends that are vegans, but they eat French fries, pasta, none of which are bad. But if you don't like vegetables, like go on and eat the cake and eat have a ham sandwich. You need something other than just brown food. So if you're going to do plant-based, eat plants. And then we got a new question up. But what was
Yes.
the last part? It was plant-based.
No, I think you got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you got it. Because I
Yeah.
wanted to know what makes something plant-based. Because I felt like some people have said, yeah, I'm plant-based, but then there's sometimes I see them eating fish.
Mhm.
And so, but I'm assuming the plant-based diet is just someone who largely eats plants. And that's all it is really. Okay.
I decided, I'm one for small steps. I'm one for small pictures, one step at a time, one plate at a time. So if you have a plant-based breakfast, you have a plant-based lunch. And when I say that, you can have a rice bowl with um, lots of beans and greens and, tomatoes, whatever it is. That counts. It's fulfilling. But make sure it's stuff that you enjoy because, again, it should not be torture. And then if you have fish or chicken or something for one of those meals, whether it's lunch, I was just in the Dominican Republic a couple of weeks ago, and we had one of the women that was with us is a vegan. So I'm very conscious of what people eat. I could go either way, although I only eat poultry and fish, and occasionally I'll eat lamb. But we had yuca, rice, beans, all types of vegetables, very simply cooked, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and I can tell you it was just fresh food, a lot of carbs, but I felt great, and no one gained 1,000 pounds. Right? We had some fresh fish. We did have chicken for tacos one night, but everything was just simply cooked, and we felt great. So, your plate should be at least 75 to 90% some type of plant. And when I say plant, that could be rice, potatoes, beans, pick a vegetable, any vegetable, fruit, whatever it is, just something that you can picture growing out of the ground.
Yeah. Now, you said on your trip, everyone ate just what they wanted to eat and they still felt good, right? But the difference is they weren't in this country.
Right.
Right. And that's the unfortunate thing. Our quality of food, you know.
I'll tell you this. We actually went to the grocery store. Because you know how I am. I like to grocery stores are like my shoe shopping for some people. And everything wasn't grown there. Yes, the fish we did get, we had to go to the ocean, literally to the beach side, and the guy, it was
Nice.
what he just caught. So that's something rare. But I don't think those yucca were grown in their backyard. The quality of our food isn't great, but it's not horrible. And it's certainly better than a lot of the junk and the processed food that we're eating.
Indeed. Indeed.
So,
all right. That's good. That's good. All right. Let's answer Malika's question here. What about seasonings? She hears that it's better to make your own. And the latest cancer awakener, sugar. As a Black woman, how can I keep cultural dishes, but to be healthy cautious or health conscious?
okay. Seasonings. If making your own is going to keep you away from cooking because it's just adding another task, and if you're ready to have, say, taco night and you don't have taco seasoning ready, then there are tons of organic or chemical-free options available, whether in the store or online. And yes, sugar. Sugar is, in my opinion, is just like cocaine. It lights the same area in your brain after you eat sugar as if you just took cocaine. I've never taken cocaine. I'm saying this from scientific side. And our diet and a lot of processed food, because sugar is so satisfying, it's literally in everything. So I remember with my corporate job, I did a 10-day no sugar challenge. I had people from coast to coast sign up. Oh, I can't wait. I can stop eating cake for 10 days. And I said, okay. But that also means ketchup. That also means barbecue sauce. What's in, how much sugar is in your yogurt? Oh, well, I eat fat free. Okay, so do you realize that they put more sugar in fat free to cover for the fact that the fat is coming out? Oh, well, I eat diet. All that fake sugar is just as bad, if not worse. So when you really look at the ingredients on our food, a lot of times the second, third, sometimes first ingredient is sugar. Thankfully, one of the recent administrations, they added a line on the nutritional facts where it says added sugar. Because again, sugar from fruits and vegetables, that's not bad because it's a natural sugar that's also tied with the fiber of. So I'm a big sweet potato eater. I eat purple, white, yam, sweet potatoes. They are very, very good for you. Sorry, now my kids are speaking to me through Google. So, sugar that way is completely fine. But again, we eat a lot of processed food that's packed with sugar. And sugar does, I can tell, like today, I said earlier how I had that emotional meltdown and I found myself in a Chick-fil-A drive-thru, just being honest. But I can feel the impact of the amount of sugar that was in that milkshake because my joints are a little stiff. So I can always tell when I've had too much sugar because I feel it somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And as I'm sorry.
Cultural dishes, sorry.
Yes.
It's funny because I was asked to speak to a major insurance company for their, I want to say it was like their Black History Health Initiative. And I actually declined because they wanted me to teach them how to fry chicken healthy and how, like, all of these cultural things. And my response was, if you're going to fry the chicken and eat the chicken. There's no way to make good, healthy fried chicken. Now, I know a friend of mine was like, yes, in the air fryer. Okay. But occasionally I'll fry chicken. One of my kids loves fried chicken. We're not having it every day. We're not having it every week. Sometimes we don't even have it every month. But when I fry it, we're going to enjoy the fried chicken. So, yes, there are some cultural dishes that, for the sake of our grandmothers and aunties, keep it the way it is. But just maybe don't have that every day. You know, my husband is of Jamaican descent. You can't eat oxtail. You can't eat it every week, you know, and it's so pricey now. You shouldn't even have to have it.
Right. You can afford to eat it.
But when you cook it, it's cooked the traditional way. So it's really just opening your eyes to the array of options that we have. Because a lot of times we get stuck as New Yorkers, we eat bagels, pizza, bacon, egg, and cheese, chopped cheese, because that's just what we know, right? But you know, when my husband and I got married, we always had some type of salad because my grandfather was a huge gardener. And the salad was whatever he picked that day. So now my husband's adding, you know, olives and all kinds of things that he traditionally didn't always have. But now that you have exposure to it, just try it and add it and see what happens. And make a new tradition, make a new cultural dish.
I like that. Make a new cultural dish. All right, let's move on. We have more questions. Oh, I love it. You guys keep asking your questions. This is great. Can you touch on if it's good vitamins and herbs in your diet? If it's good to have vitamins and herbs in your diet?
And Gayla, you know, I'm in my garden, and at least I'm sure in yours, and it's really good to plant herbs in your garden because a lot of times they're natural pesticides. So you don't have to use a lot of the sprays when you have rosemary, thyme, chives, garlic. Those things actually keep pests away from your garden and your colonies. But they have really good, I mean, you can't legally say medicinal purposes, but they have tons of health value. Oregano, parsley, all of those things, and it just adds a freshness to your meal. So it's funny, just going back to my trip in DR. One night they made some chicken. I think it was like some grilled chicken thighs or pan-seared chicken thighs, and I'm saying pan-seared. They just put them in a pot. Um, and I was like, "What did you put on it?" And she had a little bowl and a spoon, and she had some oregano, a couple of garlic cloves, and just some other. It may have been some thyme, and she just kind of mashed them around with the spoon, spread it on with some oil. And when I tell you, in the city they could charge $40 for that plate, but it was just so simple. And again, it just went back to just simple, fresh ingredients making for a healthy meal. So yeah, I'm big on herbs.
That's good. And Lisa Troy, if you have a follow-up question to that, you can feel free to post it. Malika has the question here. Is drinking my vegetables equal to eating it? My biggest question is, what do you think about protein shakes? I make my own with proteins like almond milk, peanut butter, banana, and honey.
So juicing, a lot of people do cold pressed juices, or they juice, or they do smoothies. My rule of thumb is it should still taste like vegetables, because if not, it's just juice. So I always say you need to have 75% vegetables, primarily not sweet vegetables, and 25% fruit or sweet vegetables. So you can do celery and green apple and parsley with a little lemon, um, kale, and whatever else you want to add, but just don't make it a sweet juice drink, because again, you're just giving your body that sugar. And I always like to add at least a teaspoon or a tablespoon of chia seeds to give you the protein and to help you digest it slower. Um, protein shakes, I protein shakes. Okay, so you use almond milk. I'm very curious of the almond milk that you use. I just want to make sure it doesn't have a ton of gums and additives and seed oils in it. Peanut butter, banana, and honey. So my son actually in the mornings he likes to make he calls it a nutso butter shake, and it's a protein shake as well. There's a we get it in Costco's here. It's actually cheaper in Costco's, but it's called Nutso Butter. So it has chia seeds. I think it's like 12 different nuts and seeds, sunflower seeds. And he'll take a tablespoon of that. He'll use half a frozen banana. I get um, regular milk from a local dairy farmer that's organic. And then he'll put a little cocoa powder, and that is his sweetness, and that makes it a shake. But he can't you not every day, right? Like usually he'll do that when we're running out of the house, if he's we're late running to school. Sometimes he'll do it for a little boost, but I don't think they're all bad. I'm just not one for those powders with 90 ingredients, because somewhere in there you have something that you don't need. But here's the funny thing about knowing your body. So we spoke earlier about me dealing with migraines. As much as I like healthy food, there are foods, which cheese is one of them. So I have to eat what is called a low histamine diet. So foods that are high in histamine, I have to really be careful because they'll trigger migraine. So things like bananas, things like almonds, spinach, um, certain citrus. There are quite a few things that I have to monitor how much I eat, because I used to drink this shake with my son, and I'm like, why does my head feel like it's like 10,000 pounds? But then, as I did some more research, the second that I cut those things out, I'm like, okay, I feel better. So it takes a lot of listening to your body, writing down how you feel after you eat certain things, because sometimes some of the things that we eat or think or do are triggering some type of outward feeling and possibly even emotion.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's good. Okay. Let's move on to, oh, Lisa has another question here. What about coffee?
Yes, coffee. So I love coffee. Um, and coffee is a high histamine food. So I have to be very careful with coffee, although I love it. Um, and I have to actually spend quite a bit on coffee because it has to be um, okay. Let me dive in. Lisa, you'll know in gardening there are certain crops, certain things that you plant that are more susceptible to pests. Um, greens, that's why kale is one of the, and I don't know, we didn't talk about this, but there's a clean 15 and a dirty dozen. There are some fruits and vegetables that you absolutely must buy organic because they are usually highly treated with pesticides. Kale is one of them, and if you grow kale or collard greens, you know why, because the moths will eat it as soon as you plant it. Coffee is very much the same way. So it is one of those crops that is usually highly, highly, highly treated with pesticides. So in that process, I'm dealing with the high histamine, the pesticides, and also the storage of coffee and the way, because it's imported, it also gets a lot of mold. So I make sure that I get clean versions of coffee, not just organic, but coffees that are tested for mold. And then that way it doesn't trigger a headache. But coffee, I think, is absolutely great for you. Dry, um, dark roasted, if you need to do decaf, Swiss process, coffee is one of those beverages that people that live well into their hundreds favorites are drinking on a regular basis. This coffee is great. I just don't think Dunkin' is good, and if you're making it a frappuccino, it's certainly not the same. So if you're making it a milkshake with a bunch of creamers and sugars, it's not the same.
Right, right. Now you said you get coffees that are tested for mold, so you see all of that on the packaging. There's little symbols or something. Or,
Yeah,
okay,
so there are different brands that I've kind of just vetted for myself or for my clients. Um, that now it's just, when we were talking earlier about healthy living being hard and having time for it, it does take some time in the beginning to find what you can eat, find prices that are right, where to shop, what you're going to make, menu options. But once you get into that rhythm, I can go into certain grocery stores around here now with my eyes closed. I know exactly what's going in my cart and what's not going in my cart because I've already done the work, right? And the same as with the coffee.
right, right. That's nice. All right, our next question. I love all these questions, folks. Okay, Himalayan salt. What's your take? I just learned I can dehydrate my vegetables and make fresh ones.
So
Interesting.
Himalayan sea salt, it has I use it occasionally. I didn't run to it because again it was a trendy thing. Um, I in just full transparency, I just use regular sea salt from Whole Foods, and I also use Redmond salt, which is packed with different minerals, or gray salt. Himalayan salt, I've been reading a lot in the past 2 to 3 years, um, that it's had a lot of trace toxins in it. Um, so I was never really like fully on the bandwagon with it. And now I'm just like, okay, so you just need to be careful.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna follow up with that salt question. Celtic salt. Now I heard that if you had Celtic salt, it helps you cellularly, like helps your body absorb more water or makes you more
So
hydrated.
it's just like gray salt as well. Like if you look at it, it's grayish, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it's dark. It doesn't look like the white table salt, and
Right.
that's because it has a lot of minerals in it. So it has. If you look at, I don't know the brand, the little girl with the umbrella, um, but a lot of table salt will say on the back,
It's Morton salt,
contains
right?
no iodine or contains no minerals. So it's
Mm.
just stripped down salt. Celtic salt, Redmond salt. Redmond salt is very colorful. That's because there are minerals in it. Himalayan pink salt, the same thing. It's pink, right? So it has some trace minerals in it. Um, if you use it sometimes, it's probably fine. But like I said, I've just been reading a lot in the past few years that they've had some issues with some toxicity.
Okay, that's important to know. That's good. All right, let's move on. Oh, this is good to see. I just want to show it real quick. She was just praying about this. So this is major confirmation. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Malika. He does answer. What about oatmeal versus steel oats?
Yeah, so oatmeal, I'm a big fan of oatmeal. Um, my my kids have all gone through their oatmeal stages. Um, I'm a big fan, big fan. Oh, my little one said because I like it. Um, I think steel cut is always a better option. It
It's
does
better.
take longer to cook, so I would do steel cut overnight. Um, sorry. Uh, Steel cut overnight oats where you would, put whatever your liquid is in there and let it soak, and then if you need to heat it up the next day, then you can cook it because it's tough, right? Um, and then I would just add your own, but again, Oatmeal is another one of those crops that is highly sprayed. So I would really just look um, at buying organic, and you can. I actually like to do. I talked earlier about sweet potatoes, and hold on one second. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you all for those of you hanging with us. Hello
Sorry.
there in Clubhouse. If you'd like to, you can click the YouTube link above if you want to see us live. Good to see you, Talitha. Bless you, sister. Good to see you. Okay.
So one thing that I love to do, because sweet potatoes, purple potatoes, sweet potatoes are really good for you. I like to bake a few when I'm meal prepping, and I'll take half of a sweet potato and stir it in my oatmeal because it gives it the sweetness, but it also gives the health values. Chop up some walnuts or whatever nuts, sprinkle some cinnamon on top, and it's a really hearty, healthy, and delicious way to start your day.
That's awesome. That's good. Oh, I hear this all the time. What's up with CMOS? How do you feel about CMOS? Uh-oh.
Um, Wait, okay. CMOS is also known as carrageenan. Carrageenan is a filler. Carrageenan is something that has been really kind of looked at as far as it being added to organic ingredients because there are a, quite a bit of research done that people have some gastric issues after using CMOS. I know people swear by it. Um, I know it is ridiculously trendy or not. Maybe it's just, one of those cultural things that kind of, I'm walking a tight line right now. Um, I'll say this. What's up with blank? If that blank is something that is the cure all be all, I'd say it's not that big of a deal. And I say that because if you're in the Chick-fil-A drive-through line and you think you're gonna come home and just have sea moss or whatever and you're good, that doesn't cut it, right? If you are, I'm trying to think of something else that is like mega trendy. Detox tea, master's cleanse, like whatever you want to fill in that blank. If you're not doing the other things, sea moss isn't gonna matter. And again, I'm just leaning back on my advertising and marketing thing. Like, I'm not saying that it's bad for you, but it's not going to fix everything if you're not moving, if you're not eating oatmeal to flush your colon out. If you're not forgiving, if you're walking around stressed out, no, you could be doing everything that we talked out tonight, but you are anxious as all get out. You're walking in unbelief or unforgiveness. That's going to kill you just as fast as the chicken and milkshake and the waffle fries. So,
Wow.
yeah, I'm not saying that it's horrible, but um, I don't think one thing is going to fix everything.
Right. Right. That's good. Oh, I'm so glad you asked this question, Malika. Bread. I do not like Ezekiel bread and seeded bread, except for 8, 10, and 12 multigrain bread.
My dear sister knows I love bread. I love bread. I said it before Oprah. I love bread. And I do not think bread is the enemy. We have a friend that says bread is not your friend. Um, I will tell you this, and I'm just going back on not a trend, but what people who are living healthy lives, very long lives, what they do, they eat sourdough bread. They eat real sourdough bread, bread that And that's something that's actually like all the trend now after COVID, because everybody started a sourdough starter because you couldn't go outside, so they have to babysit that thing every day. But if you can find someone or a bakery that makes real sourdough bread, and that's bread without yeast, it's just flour, water, and a sourdough starter. It is actually really, really good for you. It's essentially a probiotic. And sourdough bread is known to slow down your how fast your food digests, which impacts your blood sugar. Um, Ezekiel bread, I'll eat it if it's toasted. Um, I'm not really a fan either. um, Seeded breads, again, that's something else because grains are just highly sprayed. I would make sure that it is organic, but a lot of breads contain a lot of sugar. So there's just a lot to look at there. But if you can find, excuse me, um, real sourdough bread, I would say go for it and go for it every day. And then
Oh,
there's like a big trend on social media now because a lot of people are doing micro bakeries where they're making these sourdough loaves out of their homes because that's one thing that you can make without a food license.
really?
So, yeah. So and sourdough bread, I like to add that as movement and also a sense of accomplishment and taking care of something or someone because a sourdough starter is like a pet, and having a pet is healthy and good for you. So have a sourdough starter if you don't want to walk your dog.
I like that. That's good. um, okay. Oh boy, Malika. Okay, okay. Please help because fried chicken and some good old soul food. Christmas and Thanksgiving is around the corner.
And you better have it and enjoy it and go back for seconds. That's what holidays are for. Like nobody's gonna come to your house if you have a tofu. Like what? I mean, no, nobody wants that. You come to my house on holidays, we're having mac and cheese and homemade rolls and turkey and all the things. That's what holidays are for. Fry it. But you don't need my help. Go ahead and fry it. Just make sure it's good. And just make sure that you're not eating it every day from November to January, talking about it's the holiday season. Now, I didn't say that, but enjoy it. Enjoy the holidays. Have your
That's
aunts,
good.
stuffing with gizzards and everything else. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
That's good.
The
Life is
thing is,
about balance.
when you know, I love it because a lot of people know that I'm a health coach and I'm always, on my soapbox about healthy eating. So I love when I bump into some of my kids' schoolmates, their parents, because I do some things at the school. And first thing they do, and they want to look at my cart. What are you eating? What do you have? I want to, because they want to catch me out there. I'm sure there's somebody's going to report me to TMZ because I was in Chick-fil-A earlier today. But the thing is when you're doing the right thing or when you're eating the right way, 80% of the time, give or take, 90% of the time, the Thanksgiving meal is not gonna, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
not gonna take you out. We just do the reverse, right? Like we do a month of trash eating and then we think the one salad with a glass of sea moss is gonna fix it all. That's not how it works in health economy.
Right. Right. And and there's a saying that says you can't outrun a bad diet. So it's the same idea. We're trying to find that one thing to kind of undo all that you've done. So
Can't
yeah, we need to.
implement that diet either. Because there are a lot of people that think they're gonna eat a bunch of junk and then they take, $1,500 worth of supplements thinking that's gonna fix it. You're just wasting your money.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Malika, we have another question. Coconut oil, seeded oils. I noticed that they've gotten more expensive. I try not to buy vegetable oil. What's your preferred oil?
Olive oil.
Olive. Okay.
olive
Just
oil.
stick
Seed
with olive
oil
oil.
is good. But I do fry my chicken in canola oil, which is why I don't buy a big bottle and I don't fry it often. Um, Coconut oil, you have to be careful because it can be very high in cholesterol, and I just don't like the taste of it. Like
Yeah.
I think it just offset. I mean, unless you're cooking a dish with maybe some coconut milk or curry or something like that, it just doesn't taste good on everything. Um, Seed oils, you have to be really careful. Vegetable oil is trash, if I can say. Um, and everything has gotten expensive. But I olive oil is actually really good for you, and it's the preferred um, oil if you're gonna fry, saute, add on top of your salad or whatever. So olive oil, I'm an olive oil fan all the way.
So what about avocado oil? Yeah, no.
I think that's okay too. It's just if it's just expensive anyway.
Oh,
Oil is just expensive anyway, and you just don't need a ton because you shouldn't be, you shouldn't. Uh, I don't want to say frying everything, but if you're gonna go to the store and buy oil, if you just have a bottle of olive oil, that's
that
that
covers
that
all the different
covers
spots of eating.
a ton.
Okay. Okay.
If I'm cooking eggs, I have a stainless steel spray bottle that I put olive oil in. That's what I use because I don't use the non-stick spray or anything like that because it's plastic. And that's another thing, your cookware, cast iron, stainless steel. That's what you need to lean on. If you have non-stick, please, please, as soon as you can buy something stainless steel or cast iron, throw non-stick out. It's awful.
Ah, okay.
In my
We
soapbox.
shouldn't be using non-stick pans. Yeah, I've kind of heard. I've heard that. I've heard that.
Watch the movie Dark Waters. It's very good.
Oh, that was a fantastic movie. I don't know if you guys heard her, but there's a movie called Dark Waters. Was it about Teflon or
Yeah.
it was that was a fantastic movie.
And it
That
was
was a,
so downplayed
hmm,
that
probably on
it's like,
purpose.
right, right. And I mean, if just a little bit that they did share didn't move you, if you knew the whole story,
Hmm,
you throw it out.
yeah, I need to watch that again. That was very good. That talked about forever chemicals. I
Yep.
think that's when I learned about for yeah, that was good. Okay, Malika was asking about okra, vegetables, vegetables.
Oh yeah, girl. Make some open.
Likes okra. Oh, any tips on how to speed up metabolism? I gained weight and have been building up my immunity.
Um, I will say, I'm sorry. Is my little one is she bothering you? Can you see her? Because she's scooting around.
No,
Okay.
that's okay. I know they do you on high demand right now. We thank you for your time.
No, no.
Uh oh. All
Sorry.
right. That's all
Um,
right.
so I don't know if you can speed up your metabolism. I do know that. Um, sorry.
It's okay.
Depending on your age, when you get a certain age, I'm in the menopause years. Your hormones play a big, they have a play a big role in your weight gain and weight loss. I think if you go back to what I said earlier, just drinking water, starting with that for 30 days, you'd be amazed by how many pounds you'll drop from that. I think metabolism has been a target for a long time because that's just, calories, metabolism, fast, slow, thyroid, this, that, and the other. Like those are just easy things to pinpoint. But if we do some of the things that can have a big impact, like cutting out the sugar, eating more plants, drinking more water, moving naturally, having a good laugh with a friend, doing something that you enjoy, forgiveness. If we do a lot, you'd be surprised to see how fast you think your metabolism will move when you do some of those things, and you'll start to see the weight come down.
That's good. That's good. Malika,
Stay
another
out of
question.
the drive-thru.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Stay out of the Chick-fil-A drive-thru.
Yes. Malika says, last question. Fish, the mercury in salmon. I do not like tilapia. I don't blame you. The fake fish, and recommendations on where to get real fish.
You know, food deserts are a real thing. Mercury in fish, yes, there is in some. The bigger the fish, the more there is. I always keep a bag of, and they sell it in like Costco or BJ's or Whole Foods, but I always have a bag of Alaskan wild sockeye salmon where they cut it in, they freeze it in the
Portions.
right in the portions. Great fats, really good for you. Um, I can make a delicious piece in 10 minutes or less. And I can add on top of greens or salad. So I always keep that on hand. I do not eat tilapia. I don't eat farm raised fish because it's just packed with all kinds of antibiotics and all that other kind of stuff. I don't know if you have a fish market by you. I know the few that I have here, they actually have a list over, that big ice thing where they line all the fish up. And they have a list and it says wild caught or farm. And I just look at whatever the wild card is and I see what my budget is for that week. And then that's what I go for, whether it's rainbow trout or whatever the fresh fish is. I I think we kind of hone in on something like mercury in fish, right? Like canned tuna or whatever it is. Um, but we don't know what's in the food at McDonald's. We don't know what's at the fillet of fish at McDonald's or anything else. So I always just say do the best that you can on the budget that you have. And little steps make a huge difference. So if, instead of getting, I keep saying bacon, egg, and cheese, I'm sorry, because we're from New York. If you trade in a bacon, egg, and cheese every Monday or every Friday, whatever day you get, and you have oatmeal, that's massive. Like, that's big. And celebrate that. If you now have a big salad and you added olives or peppers or something that you haven't tried before, try frisee or tried another type of lettuce, something that was on sale and you're like, what is this? That's a huge win. That's something that you haven't done before. And the other thing when we talk about time and money, vegetables, you can buy them frozen, you can buy them fresh on sale. And the biggest thing about that, as far as time is concerned, they're the quickest things to cook. So, Gayla, I'll make fried rice in a hot minute. Like
I make it now because of you. I make it all the time. I just love it. Such a fantastic idea.
Kitchen sink fried rice because it's taking yesterday's rice, and just adding whatever you have in your refrigerator that day. So if you have carrots or peas or onions or whatever it is, kimchi, just add it, saute it with the rice. And that's a new staple meal. Talking about new cultural things. I mean, I know our last name is Wong, but we always have fried rice with something in it. Mushrooms, all types of mushrooms, whatever it is. So I think if we just kind of go back to saying, let's not just get stuck in the analysis paralysis where we hear about mercury, we hear about pesticides, is it organic, sea moss, what kind of salt? And if we just make slow and steady steps and just change over time, the race is not given to the swift. Like, let's just take one step at a time, make one good choice each day, and then just watch the journey. Like my husband says all the time, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? Like I'm 50, I'll be 50 this year. Yeah, I would be taking 50 years of bad eating or bad habits or whatever. It's not going to change overnight. But the impact that, the steps that you take today will have a major impact later when you're just doing a little at a time. Because you don't want to do anything that's like, even though I did this when I was 13, I came home and I was like, Mom, I'm not eating meat anymore. I think I did it to just push her buttons, but I haven't eaten meat since. But if I came home today and I said, I'm a vegan, well, the minute that I smell some fried chicken, that vegan thing is going down the tube. But if I say, you know what, I'm going to eat plant-based lunches for the rest of the week, well, that's better than a burger, So celebrate those small wins, and you want to have attainable goals.
Attainable goals. That's good. All right. We are over 1 hour mark. We're going to keep moving, keep asking some questions here. Um, let's see. Lisa Troy says she used grapeseed oil, but I'm not sure if it's the best. So you're going back to the olive oil. You prefer oil. Okay.
Because olive oil also has good health benefits too.
Right. Farmers markets, can they be trusted? And she thanks you for the wild fish versus the farm raised answers. What do you think about farmers markets?
My goal is to have a farm. You know that. And I would want somebody to trust me because farming is hard work. I don't know where you live, but a lot of these farmers at farmers markets, they have to be vetted before they go. And if you really just talk to some of these people, so the milk that I buy, and you may have seen this in our grocery stores because it comes in the glass bottles. And I had a conversation because I would see them every week, and she said, listen, my cows are more organic than any organic milk that you would ever buy in the store. And she says, come to my farm and I'll show you. She knows the name of all of those little creatures. She knows what they eat. She knows birthdays. She knows what they like, what they don't. This one likes a clover patch. This one does. The milk is going to taste like this today. They're really invested in their farm. Is there some wild card out there? Possibly. But this is a Christian group, right?
Yes.
I would say
largely. Say that again.
I'm going to say just like my thing on tithing, when people always say, oh, how can you trust the church when you tithe? I'm being obedient to what I know to do is right. I'm trusting God for the rest. If I'm paying my tithes at a church, I'm doing what I'm being obedient to. What happens with the money after that, that's between you and the Lord. If I'm going to a farmer's market and y'all are sitting here saying that you care about your crops and you're trying to, change agriculture and you want to produce good, wholesome food, I'm just going with that because, like, why are you lying? And if you are, the Lord, when I say my grace, take that stuff out, go with it that way. But can they be trusted? I've had multiple conversations with the farmers at the farmers markets that I go to, and they are, that's their groove. Like, they are just into their farm, into their crops. They're excited about what they do. Farming is not easy work, and it's not something that you can become a millionaire overnight. So it has to be a passion project. So yeah, but I would say talk to them. Talk to them. And if they start stuttering, then just go to the next table.
Very funny. Okay. Hey, New York. Malika, you're in New York? I didn't know that.
So there's a ton in New York. I don't know. Rice. We eat rice all the time, every day sometimes. New York, what is it? Columbus Circle, I think, is a huge one in the city. But there are tons of small. I think it's greenmarket.com, greenmarketnyc.com, or greenfarmnyc.com.
Okay.
Um, they'll tell you all of the farmers markets, at least in the boroughs. Um, and then you can check with your local town or village if you're up this way, and many of them have um, some type of market. Just the days and the times may vary. Rice, rice is it's a staple. I do think you need to wash your rice, soak it for at least 15 minutes to get the arsenic or um, whatever out. But rice, it's a must.
Okay. Okay. I just
Whether
want to. Okay, I just want to talk to my folks here in Clubhouse. Hello, those of you listening from Clubhouse. If you want to join us live, please click the link above and go right to my YouTube channel because I think my phone is about to die. So this room will probably be closing very soon. And I don't want you to miss the rest of the conversation. So please click the link above and join us over at YouTube. Thank you. All right. Okay, so we're going to go back. Lisa Troy says, is portion size really important? Now, you spoke about that earlier, right?
so, here's my take on portion size as a whole. I don't know if in this country we have gone to feast or famine, where we have some friends that came over from South Africa, and one of the things they said, your plates are so big. Our plates are massive compared to other countries, even Italy that eat a ton of pasta. They're not, big gravy train bowls like we have here. Um, but I'll say this as far as portion size, because a lot of time that is tied with calories. Again, I would keep your portion size for meat the size of your palm. 4 ounces is ideal. And then everything else, I think as long as you are eating slowly and allowing your brain time, your stomach time to tell your brain that it's full, I would make sure that the majority of your plate is some type of whole food, plant-based, whole grain portion. And I'll say this part because I was talking about calories. I'm not a calorie counter. Um, you can get a Happy Meal at McDonald's and it can be 7,000 calories. I can fill an entire kitchen from top to bottom with vegetables, whole grains, potatoes, beans, and it might be 1,500. So portion size and calories, it doesn't always tie in to what you're actually eating, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
But I would
Moving.
say just, you know, we're not going to eat out of baby plates, but just make a reasonable portion, eat slowly. If you can, have a conversation over the meal. Because the thing is we, especially in this country, overeat. We eat so fast, and especially for us New Yorkers, because we're always in a rush. We eat so fast that most of the time we were full 20 minutes ago, but we're still eating because our brain hasn't even had a chance to say, I'm done, tapping out.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to go to our last question because we're almost at an hour and a half. Wow. I love the engagement, though. Grateful for all this engagement. We're just going to have you back. Our last question is from Malika. Honey, I'm going back to baking and want to plant herbs in an indoor garden. Any suggestions in the famines to come? How to maximize indoor and small outdoor gardening? Yeah, that's a really good one. And let me just address those in the chat. Malika and Lisa, thank you so much for your engagement. It's been wonderful to have you on. And please don't apologize and thinking you're asking too many questions. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. That's why she's here. So I'm so glad that you're here with us. Please, Jenon, go ahead and answer.
I love honey. Um, as we all know it, if you don't, you should not give honey to children under 1. Um, that just needs to be said. Um, but raw, organic, local honey, if at all possible, is amazing. It's great for your immune system. It helps fight allergies. So honey, big fan of honey. And that's something else that usually there's some type of honey farmer, or I don't know if that's the right term, but beekeeper, honey man. um, Usually there's somebody at a farmer's market that sells honey. Um, so yes, I think honey is good. But I will say this too: if honey is still sugar, so don't think, oh well, I'm not eating a lot of sugar, I'm having honey. It's still sweet. So let's not binge on honey. But yes, honey is good. Yeah. Going back to baking, I don't know about baking with honey. That might be one of those fried chicken rules. If you're gonna make a cake, just use sugar. Don't eat the whole cake. And planting herbs, indoor gardens, I think that is awesome. A lot of things, and I think it's really important, even just from a cost standpoint, not even thinking about the family, but like it's cheaper to buy an organic plant of parsley, thyme, oregano, whatever it is at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. I think they're like $1.29. But if you get the little package, it's like $4.99 plus, and you get less. So it has multiple, pluses, pros to just planting, and it's pretty, right? Smells good. You can put it in your window. You can grow lettuces indoor. Get some type of, cute terracotta plants. Put that however you want to HGTV your house to make it look pretty. But yeah, you can. There are tons of things that you can grow inside. You can grow lemons and oranges inside. So yeah, I think whatever you can grow inside or on your front stoop or anything, just out there. And again, it goes tending to some type of garden, or just as you can see, I have more plants than I have people in this house. But that caretaking, sorry, it's hot. Caretaking and the natural movement really help.
Sip of water. They have beehives at their community garden and sell the honey at our phone stand. Very nice. Very nice.
Amazing.
Very nice. Okay. It's funny. I just wanted to quickly say something about suggestions for the famine. I think we should always prepare for our personal famines. In your personal, that there are some emergencies you need to prepare for your own home. My twin sister and I live together, and we both have jobs that we have both been in. I've been in my job for 18 years. She was about 20 years, and we live together. And I'm in sales in pharmaceuticals. And so my job told us they were laying us off a few months in advance. And so I thought, well, I live with my twin sister. I'm going to be good. I'm going to be fine. Gage will take care of me, because that's how we are. We give each other money. We help each other out. We don't look for it back. That's what we do. The same week I get laid off, and I'm told this months in advance. The same week I get laid off, Geisha calls me, my twin sister calls me and says, hey, this twin thing is for the birds. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, I just got laid off. I said, no way. So 2 people in one household both lost their income at the same time. So it's important to just
before you keep going. Then remember that it was me, and then one of our brothers. We all went through it together.
Right.
So keep going because you are in the house.
Right, right. So you have to prepare for your own emergencies. We have to be prepared. So I love the fact that you guys are even thinking about how to do your own gardening and how to save that way. Because if you can do fresh veggies in your own home and perhaps buy other stuff outside, that's a good way to not only be sure to have more healthful options because you know what you put in your soil and how you treated it, but also it's more cost efficient. So I love that you're even thinking like that.
And then
But
too,
yes,
reminds me, and then Lisa also mentioned that sense of community, especially in the body, every joint supplies. Going on this health journey is so much easier, more enjoyable when you're going on it with someone else. During that time, we hate each other. We didn't have a whole lot because the money wasn't the same, but we would get together and have a lunch with some very simple ingredients together and kind of, whether it was pray or do resumes together. So that sense of community, you don't feel like you are in this by yourself. So the community that Pastor has created of like-minded people, that's massive to support each other, encourage each other, pray each other through, answer questions. So I would definitely keep this unit strong and pray for because it's absolutely necessary.
right. That's awesome. All right. Well, before you go, how can viewers get in touch with you for personalized coaching? What do we do? I can share your Instagram. What should we do?
You can do so. I'm actually, and I think I shared this with you earlier. I'm actually in the process of what do you call
Oh, refreshing. You're okay.
starting
You're
some new courses, releasing some products and things like that. So my website is there, but if you want something direct, yeah, you can reach out to me through Instagram.
okay. Okay. All right. Well, I am going to share that with you folks if my technology works. I'm going to share that with you. Actually, when we close, I will post all the links so you can follow Jenon on Instagram. And once when she has her website up and running, you'll be able to continue the conversation there to join some of her programs, which is so worth it. Please consider that. Please take a look at that and just follow her on Instagram and just engage. And I think that's all we have tonight. I'm
Thank you
so
so much.
glad you joined us. Thank you,
Thank you.
Jenon, for your time.
Thank you. Please have me back. I know we have tons of questions. Invite your
Yes.
friends, family members. We're in this together, and change happens when we change together. So,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you so much. I'm going to release you so you can go take care and love on your family because I know they've been they're chomping at the bit. They're probably behind the camera waiting for you to hang up. So
Yeah, Rick is up here too. He's going to critique the answer that he's going to say, you didn't say this right. You should have talked about that. What about this? So, yes, we must do this again.
yes, you have to come back again. We really enjoyed you. Thank you again for your time. And Lisa, Troy, and Malika, they're all appreciative of your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your love for the body and all that you do just to help us live better lives and care for those that we love. So thank you for all that you do. I really appreciate it.
Amen. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Talk to you
Bye.
soon.
Bye. Whew, wow. That was a great conversation. I'm so glad you took the time to join us. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for sitting it out. Thank you for joining us. Please come back again. Keep watching this space. We're going to have some more awesome conversations to help us really manage this life and navigate well. So if you want some more information about Jenon and what you heard tonight, you'll keep checking my page. I will post the links there. I'll post it tonight, so you'll be able to see it and come back. Thank you again for joining us. Have a great evening.